Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's episode, I'm joined by sophomore from the Penn State men's hockey team, Ben Schoen. Ben, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, and how's everything going?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good. It's been a fun season so far. Excited to keep it going, and happy I could join the podcast.
Yeah, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And obviously, your team's entering the second half of the season, number 5 in the country as of right now. So, how would you evaluate your team's performance as of now?
Yeah, I think we took a big step from last year. I think last year we were really young, and this year we got some big time transfers um, that are older and have experience and have had success in college hockey. So I think the biggest thing for us was just having veteran guys that know how to win and do the little things right. So us younger guys have kind of fed off that, and we've had a lot of success this year. And having the fan base we have, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and how do you handle the pressure of being a ranked team? And what's the key for your team's consistency this year? Because this is obviously something new for Penn State, at least in the last few years.
I like you said, I think just the biggest thing for us right now that we're focusing on in the second half is consistency. We've had a great start to the season. I think we're like 12-0 on Friday, but we've struggled on Saturdays to kind of sweep a team or just keep that consistent play. So I think for us, it's we don't really look at the rankings too much, but just playing consistent. 2 games a weekend, trying to close out the second one for us is our big key and what we're focusing on right now.
Yeah, I'm always curious if players ever focus on just like what's said about the team on social media and stuff. And I'm assuming from your team, you've tried not to focus on that at all.
Yeah, we've taken some backlash with Saturday games, but we had a big weekend against RIT when we came back from break and got both done there, and we got Michigan State this weekend, who's a really good team. They play hard, play physical, so it's gonna be a good test for us, and hopefully we can come out of there with 2 big wins.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about your team this season is you have a good mix of younger players and older players. How has your team built that chemistry between your team that you have? Is it organically? Is it something that you have to work on? I'm just curious about how that all works out once you guys arrive on campus in the fall.
Um, a big focus for our team is the culture and the type of people we bring into the program. I think the biggest thing that I learned when I came here and why we were so tight was just our leadership. We have some really good captains and older guys that lead the right way, both on and off the ice. So it's been really nice to kind of just learn from them and see what they do. And they've done awesome for us this year. All of our upperclassmen have really stepped up this year and had some big games and played some big roles. So that's probably the biggest thing for me.
And you also have one of the best fan bases in all of college hockey. I want to ask you what it's like playing in front of them every single night, and what's the roar zone like? Do you think you have the best student section in college hockey?
Yeah, we've been pretty much everywhere. I've played everywhere now in the Big Ten, and then a couple out of conference games. But I mean, it's second to none. I think it's the best college student section in the country. They're every single night just bringing the energy and like it's full before warmups, which is pretty cool. I've never experienced that, playing in juniors and then never playing like for my high school team. So to be able to have just a fan base like this is pretty cool. And actually on New Year's, all the students were gone. So we had we call them the townies, the people that live in town. They actually filled the student section to the top, and the game was sold out against RT. So it was pretty awesome just to see, the community, getting behind us and really helping us during games.
Yeah. How nervous are you when you go into your first game at Penn State with all the crowd noise and all that? I'm curious about that because I feel like that's got to give you goosebumps in warm up, seeing the student section all the packed up by then.
Yeah, I remember my first game like it was yesterday. It was against LIU, and like I said, never really played in front of a student section before. So when we got on the ice for warmups and the band was going and the student section was full, it was definitely real nervous. My whole family was there, but you kind of just try to block that out as much as you can and focus on the game. But it's pretty incredible to witness it on the ice and as a fan too. It's a pretty awesome atmosphere.
Yeah, I was listening to Jimmy Dowd on another podcast, and he said the Michigan series was the loudest he's ever heard Pegula. I'm assuming is that true from your perspective?
Yeah, that was a weekend to remember. It was kind of a big weekend for us. We were going in undefeated. We were kind of, are they good? Or are they just, had a lucky start? So it was a big weekend for us. And man, did the Roar Zone show up in the crowd? It was unbelievable. We had a great first game. We won 3-0. The place was going nuts. And I think he said the second night we lost in overtime, but we were down 3-0 with like 8 minutes left. We scored 3 goals. And I mean, I thought the roof was going to come off. It was unbelievable. And just to have that in games is such an advantage for us. And, yeah, just it's awesome to play in front of.
Now, individually, you've improved a lot compared to your freshman year. I'm curious, what's the biggest improvement you think you've made to your game so far this season, and what'd you work on in the off season to make that improvement happen?
Yeah, I think just like I said, just learning from the older guys, seeing how they play and why they're having success. We're a team that likes to shoot the puck and score goals. So for me, it was kind of just trying to shoot more, trying to get the puck to the net more instead of making an extra pass or so. So the biggest thing for me was really just trying to learn as much as I can from watching some of our top older guys and our leaders and why they're having success and what they're doing both on and off the ice. So that was the biggest thing for me for sure.
Yeah, what do you work on? I'm just curious what type of drills you do in the off season. Like, I know some guys try to focus more on skill work, like just with their shooting and stick handling, but I know some guys also like to build up their strength. I'm curious which one you try to focus on more and how you try to build upon those skills.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm pretty small. I'm a smaller guy. So, I try to obviously get stronger, but my game isn't, to out muscle a guy or blow a guy up in the quarter. It's just, quickness, speed, agility. So I really focus on that and a lot of skill work with, shooting, stick handling, making plays, passing with your head up, stuff like that for sure. So a lot of speed, a lot of agility for sure.
Now, I do want to talk about a couple of games that you've played so far this year. The first one we sort of talked about it was the weekend against Michigan. Obviously, that was a big weekend series for your team, like you mentioned, because people were not sure what to make of your team because of the strength of schedule that you had. So just talk about what it was like playing the number one team in the country that weekend and getting the split.
Yeah, that was a big turning point for us. It kind of just, let us know like within our team that we can play with some of the best teams in the country. And honestly, I think that first game against Michigan was the best game we've played all year. I think they had like 18 shots or something. Who's they're obviously super skilled with a ton of draft picks. So that was an awesome game. We played extremely well, and then came up short in the second one.
What was the biggest difference from this year's Michigan team to last year's? Because obviously last year they had all those first round picks and they're considered the best team in college hockey in the preseason. Obviously they're still very good now, but what's changed about them a little bit, especially with the new coaching staff? I'm curious from a player's perspective because I always find that interesting with how teams sort of rebound from year to year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I took is just, they're a lot younger. Last year they had, a younger team as in sophomores, but they had that year of, experience, and it goes a long way, especially for me this year. So I think this year it's, there are a lot of young, talented players. And for us, we're an older team. Like our top guys are a lot older and have experience and know how to win. So um, I think that was the biggest advantage for us. And I think for them, just not having the experience of playing in a college hockey game is kind of an advantage for us, but they're going to be a good team for sure in the next couple of years.
Well, then the next weekend you played one of the best teams in the country in Minnesota on the road, and you got a split in that series. Talk about what it's like playing the number one team in the country in back-to-back weekends, and what's your mindset heading into big road games like that? Because obviously it's nice to have the crowd advantage when you're at Pegula, but then on the road it's a completely different atmosphere. You're sort of the villains, and you're playing in a hostile environment. Just talk about what it was like getting a win, I guess, in that hostile environment against the best team in the country at that point.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with them. we match up well with them for some reason. And, we always are pretty fired up to play them because they're always a pretty good team. So, I thought we played extremely well in the first game and, got some key goals from some big time players. So, like I said, they're a good team, but for some reason we just match up well against them, which is nice.
What's your favorite road rink to play in so from your time so far in college hockey?
I would probably say Michigan for sure. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, which is like 45 minutes from Ann Arbor, and went to a lot of those games. So playing at Yost is pretty cool. It's a small barn, but it gets extremely loud, and I got a lot of family that comes to those games, which is fun. But last year we played in Nashville against North Dakota at the Predators Arena. It sold out, and we beat them, which was probably the coolest hockey game I've ever played in.
Yeah, I do remember that game. And can I ask you one moment from that game was I forgot who scored the goal, but one fan was chirping him, and then after the celebration, he banged on the glass and started talking, you know what, to that fan. Is there
Yeah,
any background story about that? Because I thought that was the best celly of the year last year.
yeah. So we got there a day early, and we went out downtown and went to team dinner and looked at the stores and stuff, and there was only North Dakota fans. Like, it was crazy. They were everywhere, and they were chirping us as we were walking down. You guys are gonna get smoked. We'll even get a goal. So fired up for that game, and even in warm-ups it was just crazy. We were just getting shredded by these people in the stands. So to come out on top, and then I think it was Clayton Phillips scored and did something on the glass, which was pretty fun. We were all giving it to him after the game and tossing our jerseys, stuff like that. It was pretty fun.
I just love if you're gonna talk smack, you have to be willing to take it back. And he definitely did it when he slammed on the glass and pointed to that one fan that was given to him the entire game. I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, they're ruthless. Those fans are absolutely ruthless.
I think they might have some of the best fans in the country because I went to the Frozen Four in 2015, and that was in Boston. And Boston's obviously so far away from North Dakota, and they filled up that place. There was probably more North Dakota fans than BU fans, and obviously BU is much closer than North Dakota was. So they have definitely a great fan base. I would have to put them up with like your team, probably Minnesota and Michigan, and then maybe like I gotta think of some other teams. I not can't think of it in the top of my head right now, but they're definitely up there for sure.
They travel extremely well. I used to go to Miami, Ohio games, and like there would be half the stadium in North Dakota fans. I just thought it was awesome. But like, that's like there's not much going on up there, so their hockey team is their pride and joy. So they definitely get great support, and they have an unbelievable arena. So yeah, they do very well with travel.
Well, I do want to sort of get to your beginning of your hockey career and kind of work all the way up to where you are today. So it says that you're from, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Maumee, Ohio. I probably
Yeah.
butchered that a little bit,
Oh,
so I apologize. But talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing hockey?
yeah. So from Miami, Ohio. Um, my dad never played hockey. The first person was my older brother. Kind of got into it. Was just having fun with it. Played for the local high school there in Ohio, and um, you know, growing up, like, you always want to be better than your older brother. So me and him would go at it, whether it's mini sticks or roller hockey or on the ice. So he definitely helped me get into it, and just started playing locally for. Started out with the Toledo Cherokee. Played there for a couple of years, and then went over to the Sylvania North Stars. Played there, and you miss it. Like, being able to play in your hometown and driving 10 minutes to the rink is extremely nice. And I loved every bit of it. All my buddies I still stay in touch with that I played with them. So that was nice. And then around, I think 12 or 13, I decided to go up to Detroit, Michigan. I played in for Bell Tire my 12-year year and 13-year year, and then U14. I got asked to play for Little Caesars, who at the time was the best team in the country, and Chris Draper was coaching the team and played for the Red Wings for so many years and won, I think, 3 or 4 cups. So that was pretty cool to be able to play for them. And we played in Joe Louis Arena at the time before it got taken down, which was awesome. So we were dressing in the Red Wings locker room, going to games, got to meet. I mean, man, I met so many players: Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid, just the really cool guys, and it was cool to be around an NHL atmosphere all the time. And then U15 year, they built the new arena, Little Caesars Arena. Got to play in that. We had guys like Larkin skated with us, Centerberg, Datsuk. So that was, as a 15-year-old growing up, that was probably the coolest thing, just to be involved with that and be around guys like that. So that was kind of my path. And then after 15s, I decided to go to Youngstown and play in the USHL.
Yeah, talk about what it's like skating with Datsuk. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that guy is unbelievable. He is, not the loudest guy, and at the time didn't really speak much English, but he would do the drills with us and give us little techniques, and just to see like how talented he was unbelievable at the age of 14 and 15. So that was probably one of the coolest experiences, was skating with him, and we skated with Dylan Larkin, and we did like a speed thing, and just seeing him fly around was pretty incredible. That was really cool too.
Who was your favorite player growing up? Because I assume from you being from Ohio, you're a Blue Jackets fan, but it seems like you're probably a Red Wings fan growing up.
Yeah, I would say I'm a Red Wings fan for sure, just being around the guys. Um, I would probably have to say growing up, Datsuk for sure. Just going to the games with my dad and my older brother. After, literally right after practice, they would play. So seeing him do the stuff he did on the ice was so cool as a little kid. So definitely watched a lot of highlights of him and enjoyed watching him play.
Yeah, I think my favorite player from Detroit growing up was probably Lidstrom. I just liked just how like I don't know, there's something about him like just he's such a respectful guy and just the way he carries himself is just I think something to admire. But I also loved Jimmy Howard, the goalie.
Yeah,
I always liked the goalie, so he was someone I really liked watching as well.
yeah, he was good for us to start his career, and then Red Wings had kind of a drought and started going downhill, but I think we're turning around here in the next couple of years, so we'll see what happens.
Now, like you mentioned before, college hockey, you played in the USHL for the Youngstown Phantoms. I'm curious how you got the opportunity to go to the USHL.
So after my U15 year with Little Caesars, got a call from Youngstown, and they asked if I wanted to play and do, I think it was like a tender agreement. So I decided to go to Youngstown at 16, and played there for 2.5 years, and I loved every bit of it.
How did it prepare you for college hockey, playing in the USHL? Because obviously it's the best, in my opinion, junior hockey league in the US.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, just like learning how to play with bigger guys at the time, when I was playing with 20-year-olds and who were a lot bigger and stronger and faster at the time, so I had to learn a lot of techniques for me to have success during the games, and um, I learned a lot, and the coaches did a great job with me and really staying positive with me throughout, my 16-year year and 17-year year. And I got hurt a couple times and was out for a long time, but everyone stayed positive with me, and I learned a lot going into college hockey.
You got to play with some really cool guys. Obviously, I'm a big Bruins fan. So you got to play with Riley Duran, who was a Bruins draft pick, had the chance to watch him play in development camp and obviously with Providence, and then Georgi Merkulov, Brad Merrick, who I think is a really solid player for Ferris State. I'm curious, how does playing with guys like that help your development as a hockey player?
Yeah, those guys were all awesome guys, both on and off the ice. Merkulov was probably the most talented player I've ever played with, just extremely hardworking and dedicated everything to hockey. I think he's going to have a bright future with the Bruins. Bradley Merrick was awesome. He taught me a lot, just with whether that was like learning how to do face offs and little techniques, or how to block shots. He really helped me out a lot. I was always asking him questions, because that was something, I wasn't the best at, was in the D zone, and, being in good position and having good sticks. He's an awesome guy, and was big for that Youngstown team. He did a lot of good things for us. And then Riley was, really talented player, super fast, super tall, had a great shot. So I think all three of them are going to have bright futures.
Was it cool to see Riley's development from Youngstown to now playing with the World Junior team and being one of the top prospects in the NHL? Because I was reading somewhere where he wasn't that highly touted heading into Youngstown, and then he sort of changed it around during his time there.
Yeah, he really grew fast in Youngstown. He took a big turn when I actually left. I think it was when I went to Tri-City. He really started to find his game, and then it took off from there. When he played in World Juniors, he did awesome. Watched all those games, and now he's doing great at Providence. So happy for him.
Do you still talk to any of your friends from the USHL today, or is it hard just because you're focused on college hockey now?
Yeah, I think I made a lot of really good relationships and close relationships with guys that I still talk to and FaceTime and play video games with. So I think growing up when I played in Youngstown, Trevor Coulthard was there the year before me. He was a tender too. So when I got there, he kind of really took me under his wing and learned a lot from him. And I think he's a Bruins pick and plays at BC, so he's someone I talk to here and there for sure.
What's the best memory you have in the USHL when you look back on it today?
Man, I would probably say there's a couple in Youngstown. We had a bus trip to Tri City my U16 year, and obviously that was a long. I think it was like 24 hours or something, 23-hour bus ride, and our bus broke down. And we had to like pull over and go to a Cracker Barrel, and we didn't really know how long the bus was going to be down for. And I think we were there for like 9 hours, and we ate like breakfast, lunch, and dinner there, and hanging out with the guys, playing games, talking, eating. It was just so fun. As like a 16-year-old being with older guys and just having good talks. And then on the ice probably was when we were in Des Moines. We went to a shootout, and I don't know if you've ever like been or seen Des Moines games. It's like a really small rink, but they're like really loud and pretty crazy. And went to a shootout, and the shooter before me like shot at the goal, he saved it, and then actually like, kicked it in the net, but they called it no goal, and that was to win the game. So they called it no goal, and then I get called up to go next. And as I get on the ice, there's like beer cans, like hundreds of beer cans being tossed on the ice. So like I can't even shoot because there's so many beer cans on the ice. So they had to like wait, move all the beer cans, and then I went. And I didn't score. I missed and kind of skated right off the ice and was just getting ripped. And at the time I wasn't too happy, but looking back at it, it was a pretty funny experience and something I always remember.
Yeah, no, I heard Sioux Falls has the best fan base in the USHL because apparently there's like a teddy bear toss thing that they do and they fill it up pretty like a lot. Like it's one of the biggest USHL attendance games of the year.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to play there my last year when I went to Tri City. It's super nice arena. I think it's like 12,000, and they do an awesome crowd. It's pretty cool for sure. But the loudest I would say is probably Waterloo. That
Yeah.
place that place is crazy.
What was the bill like at Cracker Barrel after you guys were done eating?
Gosh,
I feel bad for whoever had to pay for that.
yeah, I think every guy had 3 meals or maybe four. It was outrageous. And then we played Tri City that night or the next night, and we lost like 12-1 or something. It was not good.
We should got that memory though. I feel like that means
Yeah,
more than the game itself.
yeah, for sure. Definitely remember that.
We'll talk about your recruitment process to Penn State. How did they reach out to you? What made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, so I was originally committed to Miami, Ohio. I committed there at a pretty young age, and um, when I went to the USHL, I kind of just felt at the time that I rushed my decision and wanted to reopen my options and see who was interested and what I liked. And Penn State reached out, and I visited and absolutely loved it. I didn't even get to see a game yet. I think I went on a Sunday or something, just like walked through the facilities and met the coaches, and it was awesome. I loved everything of it. I loved everything about it. Coaches were great. So I decided to go there with my options. I just felt at the time it was the best place for me and the best fit for me.
Talk about the coaching staff at Penn State and what's it like playing under Coach Guy Godowski. He seems like a very scary individual when I see him on the bench. I'm assuming he's not that way, but what's it like playing under him?
No, he's not scary at all. He's a really nice guy. Probably the nicest coach I've ever played for. He's awesome, but um, just a super great coach. Really focuses on certain habits and keys to our team. He loves when we shoot the puck. Like when we're at like 60 shots, he absolutely loves it, loves to score. So playing for him isn't too hard because as an offensive player, you like to shoot, you like to score. So he's been great with me, and gave me a lot of opportunity last year as a freshman, and I really thanked him for that, and just always positive with me, and doing whatever he can to help me, whether that's video or little techniques during the game. So he's an awesome coach for sure. Absolutely love him.
I saw the video. I don't know if it was him or not, but of him, like there was like a delay on the ice and he was just sitting on the bench with the boys in RIT. What's the story behind that?
Yeah, I was on the ice, and some guy on our team got hit into the bench, and the like bench thing came off or whatever, the door handle. So they were fixing it, and I guess he was tired and wasn't up, but I looked over and I saw that, and I told my equipment, I was like, someone's got to get a picture of this. This is hilarious. So I think I saw that picture on Twitter, which was pretty funny. But yeah, that was
Hey,
pretty funny.
it's if you're a coach, it's probably been a while since you've been a player, so you miss some of that stuff. So I feel like I would do that if I had the chance.
Yeah, yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
We'll talk about your freshman year and what you took away from that. Obviously, your team didn't make the national tournament, but I felt like your team learned a lot as the season progressed. Obviously, beating Ohio State in the first round of the Big Ten playoffs, I feel like was a big step for your team. So just talk about that season and what you took away from it.
Yeah, freshman year was a big adjustment for me. Playing in the Big Ten, it was extremely fast, extremely talented. The teams last year were deep with Michigan, Minnesota, even Ohio State. So definitely had to learn a lot, and went through some hard times for sure with losing and struggling with my game and with the team. So learned a lot, and I think the returners this year we really grew from last year, and I think last year we had a great finish to the season. Being Ohio State, I think it was the first time ever a Big Ten teams won on the road in the tournament, which was pretty cool. And then lost to Minnesota with, I think they scored like a minute left or a minute 30 to win the game. So um, I think we took that and learned from it, and really have turned it around this year.
And obviously, that playoff loss made Ohio State not make the national tournament. I'm curious as a player, is it like a good, I don't know if it's a good feeling, but just nice to know that like if we're not going to the tournament, you're not either. That sort of mentality.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really think too much of it. I don't even know if we even knew like what the tournament standings were and who was in or who was not. But I grew up a Michigan fan from Ann Arbor, or like pretty close to Ann Arbor, 45 minutes. So I was a Michigan fan. So had all my family at the Ohio State game, and we don't like the Buckeyes. So to beat them was pretty cool and special for me. And no, nothing personal. Just happy to come out on top.
How much chirps did you face as a kid in Ohio being a Michigan fan? Because there's probably, I don't know what it's like. It's probably maybe half half, or was it like all
Oh,
Ohio State fans when you where you grew up?
everyone's Ohio State fans. Yeah, I took a lot of heat growing up because we would get beat every year. So the last couple of years, obviously I'm a Penn State fan now, but always love seeing Michigan football beat Ohio State. So that's been pretty awesome. But yeah, a lot of.
What was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey? Was it the speed of the game, the physicality, or just like the decision making you have to have because of how fast the game is?
Definitely the decision making. In the USHL, there's a little bit more time, and um, I think the Big Ten is more of a skilled league per se than some of the others, but it's quick, and you can only have the puck on your stick for so long. And we focus a lot on not having high turnovers, and making sure we're playing smart hockey. So definitely having to learn to play a little bit less with the puck, and playing more smart hockey. So that was probably the biggest adjustment, was decision making.
And talk about what it's like playing in the Big Ten for hockey and just the skill that every team has. Because I was looking at this year, I think like I don't know who's in last place, but I was like, man, they're still a very good team. So definitely no bad teams or weekends off in that conference.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a talented league, and I think when I opened my recruitment, I always wanted to play in the Big Ten. I think it's awesome. All the rinks are really nice, and they get good crowds, and we get treated like kings here, whether we're on the road or how we travel or the food we get. So to play in the Big Ten is awesome. It's a tough game every night. There's no off nights, obviously, and this year I think we had at 1.4 or 5 teams in the top 20, which is pretty crazy to think. And a 7-team league or division. So that was pretty crazy. But yeah, just playing in the Big Ten it's tough and it's a grind, but it's a lot of fun for sure.
Now we're now in a segment I call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. First one is, what music do you like to listen to before a game?
Oh, before a game. Ooh, I don't really listen to much music before a game. I kind of just, hang out, try not to get too focused, kind of just stay more relaxed. But off the ice, obviously I like country, but a big person I've always liked growing up was Justin Bieber. I was a huge Justin Bieber fan and really loved his music. And now he does a bunch of stuff with the Maple Leafs, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, as a kid, I didn't want to admit that I liked Justin Bieber's
Yeah.
music. But as I've gotten older, it's like, why did I feel that way? Like Eenie Meenie is one of the best songs of all
Oh,
time, like in my opinion. So
he's
I think
awesome.
it's crazy, like as a teenager to make all those great songs. That's pretty impressive. So I'm definitely a Justin Bieber fan myself. I just wouldn't like play it in the car when someone's in the passenger seat because I'll be too embarrassed to do that
Yeah,
still.
I used to be like that, but not anymore. I just
That's
let it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I need to learn how to do that. I'm still in the process. I feel like maybe as the years go on, maybe I'll start to be a little more open for making that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta, take the chirps with it and enjoy the music for sure.
Who on the Penn State hockey team has the best style besides yourself? I feel like you always look the best for your pregame outfits, but anyone else that stands out?
Ooh. Um, that's a good question. I would probably have to say, um, we got a lot of guys that have really nice style. Our goalie does pretty well, Liam Sawyer. He's uh he's a French Canadian and he's got some pretty good style for sure.
Who's the funniest on the team?
I would say it was Ben Copeland. He signed in the AHL, but he was probably our funniest player. Now it's probably Connor McEachern.
And then which teammate is the worst at responding to your text messages? Like who do you have to nag like all the time just to get a response from?
Probably myself. I'm pretty bad. I always get chirped by the boys. Like I just don't do well with responding. I'll look at it, like, oh, I'll respond in a minute, and then I forget about it. So probably myself.
What is the most interesting thing you've seen or read this week?
Today there was like a cyber attack on air traffic control or something, and all flights were canceled. That was pretty crazy. I read that this morning.
Yeah, that stuff freaks me out because I don't think people realize if like a cyber attack can basically change the way like we live our lives. Like
Yeah,
someone can like hack into something and basically like steal everyone's money and all that stuff because everything's run through the internet. So that freaks me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I saw that. My teacher this morning was talking about it. It's a pretty big deal.
Now, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Probably Justin Bieber, to be honest. Love that guy. I think he'd be so cool to talk about, just like how he handled everything and, the fame and not even being able to walk anywhere and just the kind of lifestyle he lives. Be pretty cool.
And then final non-hockey question is obviously Penn State is known for its athletic department. So if you could play on any athletic team besides the men's hockey team, which team would you pick?
Ooh. I loved growing up playing basketball. I'm not the tallest guy, so I don't think that would work out. But I always loved playing basketball. But I think football, just like Beaver Stadium, the whiteout games, it was like 100,000 people. I mean, those games are just unbelievable memories I have with our team. Just so fun going to those games. Um, we tried. We've always asked, like, why can't we get a game out there, on the football field? So hopefully one day we can. But that would be definitely playing on that stadium. It is going to the games at least is unbelievable experience.
Yeah, that'll be a good winter classic. Penn's Flyers at Beaver Stadium. So if you got to nag someone in the NHL to make that happen, so you guys can play there on that week.
Yeah, we try. There's something with like it's not turf. It's like real
Uh,
grass. Can't put chillers or something will ruin it. I don't know. I guess we tried one year or something. We'll see. Maybe they can make it happen, but that would be unbelievable experience for sure.
Have you had the chance to go to any of the whiteout games? I know it's during your season, so it might be tough.
Yeah, we made the one last year against Auburn. I think it was like the second game of the season. That was unbelievable. We ended up winning that one. I think that was the only whiteout we got like stripe outs we've gone to, but that was the one whiteout game. And like I knew it was gonna be crazy, but like holy smokes, this place was.
Hmm.
But you couldn't even like talk to your buddy next to you. It's just so loud. There's so many people there, and it took us like 2 hours just to get into the stadium, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those bucket list sports items I have is to go to a whiteout. I'm not the biggest college football fan, but it's definitely something I want to do one day. But I would love to be a road team on whiteout. That might sound crazy, but I feel like it'd be so
Yeah.
cool to like sort of silence that crowd.
Yeah, I mean, even our whiteout games in Pegula, it's actually not this weekend, but next weekend we play Notre Dame, and like those games last year we played Wisconsin are just it's unbelievable. There's people outside the rink at like 10 a.m. waiting to get in for a game that's at 6 p.m. Like it's crazy. The support we have here is unbelievable, and we're very thankful to be able to play in front of them.
I feel like you would probably have to be a punter or someone on the football team if, or like maybe like a cornerback. I don't know,
I
something
don't
like
know if
that.
I'd make it on the football team. I'd have to hit the gym a little bit more.
I feel like you could like there's some spots in the special teams unit. Like I feel like I could be a gunner for a football team because all you gotta do is just run from one side of a punt to another, and I feel like I definitely got the speed to make that happen.
Yeah, I could hold the snaps for the field goal kickers. That's what I'll do.
Well, getting back to some hockey questions now. First one is for all the younger people that are listening to this podcast. What advice do you have on what it takes to make it to Division One level where you are today?
Ooh. Honestly, like the biggest thing is just working hard, like doing the little things off the ice as a younger kid. Whether that's just like stick handling in your driveway on rollerblades or shooting as many pucks as you can. Just taking advantage of the young age. And there's a lot of stuff out there now, like little stick handling tools and boards that you can practice on. So that's probably the biggest thing is just as a kid, just enjoying practicing, learn to love the game, but do as much as you can as a younger kid to develop for sure.
Now, before we end this interview, do you have any shout outs you want to give to your teammates, former teammates, family members, friends? Feel free to give them a shout out. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, I'll shout out my buddy Danny Genev, smallest guy to ever play college hockey. Shout out Danny, and my roommate right across right now, Alex Savagno.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Ben. I really appreciate your time. It means so much to myself, and I wish you and your team nothing but the best for the second half of the year. I know you guys are going to do big things, and hopefully I'll see you in the tournament at some point this March. That should be a lot of fun. I don't want to jinx it yet, though.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. We got to get you down to a Penn State game one of these days.
I would love to go. It's just for living in the East Coast, getting down
Yeah,
there is pretty difficult. So I got to figure something out in the near future because I would love to go to a game someday.
sounds good. Let me know.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, again for coming on the podcast. I really